Hello, it's Mo, and thank you for watching my video essay on 2005's Pride and Prejudice. Today we will be discussing the first scene you meet the Bennet family along with discussing the dynamics between the characters. We begin the scene with the camera steadily following Mr. Bennet from his study through the dining room to the drawing room. With this, we're shown three key things. First, the state of the house they live in. Without knowing much about the Bennet family, you can see that they're probably financially well off given the size of the house and the amount of gold paintings on the wall. Yet, there's a small piano on the wall and the house is slightly at a disarray. This can be assumed that they don't have enough help around the house because they can't pay for it. Secondly, you can see how much control Mr. Bennet has over his family. He's completely unbothered by the string of women that he leaves in the path behind him as he goes to the drawing room. He's more focused on his flower and a destination at hand. This can allude to his overall calm demeanor and nonchalantness towards his wife's hysterics. Lastly, we are shown the erratic nature of Mrs. Bennet. She is so determined to have control over the situation, she's not only following Mr. Bennet, but she dominates the conversation and speaks louder than her husband. With the context, you find out it's because she's trying to get Mr. Bennet to set up a meeting that can improve their chances of marrying one of their daughters off, and in this time period, that's very important. I would also like to bring up the fact that Elizabeth is the one who gets Mary's attention and makes her follow the rest of the girls into the drawing room with their father because she was so engrossed in her piano playing. As we finally get to the drawing room, we are treated with a shot of Mr. Bennet bathed in the morning light as he addresses the three most eager of the Bennet women. In the position Mr. Bennet is currently in, it is fair to assume that he is seen as some sort of angel answering the prayers of the mother who is desperate for the women to marry well. This next moment with the banter between Mr. and Mrs. Bennet, you're shown the director Joe Wright's signature love for human interaction and the subtle drama and comedy between characters.
Bennet, how can you tease me so? Have you no compassion for my poor nerves?
Oh, you mistake me, my dear. I have the highest respect for them. They've been my constant companions these 20 years.
Notice how Mr. Bennet is surrounded by beauty. The chair he sits in, the artwork on the wall, and even the flower in the window. He's the only male in the family. Everything belongs to him. And when he dies, everything will go to a different person. Because in this time period, the women are given nothing and that's why they have to marry up. So when you see the women on the opposite side, you see a few things here and there because when he dies, they will be given nothing. Hence why Mrs. Bennet is so pressed for him to get them a meeting with Mr. Bingley. The women can also be characterized by their clothes, with people like Mary and Elizabeth wearing darker, muted colors and they care less about getting married, and Lydia and Kitty wearing brighter colors because they care a lot about men and their opinions. Finally, we're treated with a shot that perfectly characterizes all five of the Bennet women. We have the three most eager, Lydia in the very front, she's also the youngest, the mother, and Kitty, who is very giddy about the fact that a handsome man will be coming with them to the ball. Elizabeth, who is the main character of the story, sits across from her father, mimicking his nonchalantness, yet she is still just as eager to hear the news as her mother because while she's just like her father, she doesn't have the luxuries of being a man and also inheriting and not having to marry if she doesn't want to. Jane, who is a very shy person, and Mary, a person who barely knows what's going on half the time because she has different priorities, stand in the back of the room, still waiting for more information, yet less eager to get it.
I believe so.
Finally, notice how the score begins once he gives the happy news as though it's the metaphorical title drop for the movie. The director Joe Wright allows the actresses to really interact with each other without much of a script or plot going on, just to show us how the characters are and how they interact with each other. And then we fade out to see the actual size of the house the Bennets live in.